Good morning, friends. 15th August 2026, India's Independence Day, Saturday morning, 5 o'clock, Hyderabad, India. And today we celebrate not merely another Independence Day, we celebrate 75 extraordinary years of India's journey. From freedom to capability, from scarcity to abundance, from dependence to confidence, and from a struggling young republic to an increasingly influential global economy. So, on this Independence Day, let us pause for a moment, not merely to salute the flag, but to salute the India behind the flag. An India built by millions of farmers, soldiers, scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, workers, teachers, administrators, bankers, and ordinary citizens who performed extraordinary duties. And above all, let us remember the leaders who gave this journey its direction. Mahatma Gandhi gave India the extraordinary weapon of ahimsa, the philosophy that moral strength can defeat physical power. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel gave India political unity. He became the great integrator of India, bringing hundreds of princely states into one union. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru gave independent India a vision of scientific temper, institutions, industrialization, and strategic autonomy. His statesmanship through the non-aligned movement gave India's distinctive voice in a divided world. Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the nation a slogan that still resonates with every Indian: Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. The soldier protects the border, the farmer protects the stomach, and together they protect the nation. Indira Gandhi gave voice to the aspiration of Garibi Hato and strengthened India's resolve to build a more self-reliant economy and a stronger nation. And Rajiv Gandhi accelerated India's journey into technology and telecommunications and helped prepare the country for the digital age. And then came a transformational chapter. The reforms associated with the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh opened a new economic chapter in 1991. The message was simple and powerful: and reform, liberalize, compete, and grow. Dr. Manmohan Singh's contribution to India's economic transformation remains an important part of nation's reform history. And today, Prime Minister Modi has given a powerful contemporary expression to India's aspirations through Atmanirbhar Bharat and self-reliance with global engagement. Not isolation, not withdrawal, but confidence. Make in India, innovate in India, build in India, and compete with the world. So, friends, that is the India story. Now let us look at the numbers, because numbers do not clap, numbers do not campaign, numbers simply tell the story. And India's numbers tell a remarkable story. In 1947, India inherited an economy that was overwhelmingly agrarian, poor, short of infrastructure, and vulnerable to food shortages. Today's India's nominal GDP is around $3.9 trillion, according to the recent World Bank estimates, with India firmly among the world's largest economies. Per capita GDP, which was only few $100 in historical data, is now around $2,700. But the GDP is only one part of the story. Look at the human development. Life expectancy has risen dramatically from roughly the low 30s around independence to about 72 years today. The World Bank records India's life expectancy to at 72.2 years in 2024. That is not merely an economic statistic, that is millions of additional years of human life. Now, let us travel from village to the field. India once lived with memories of famine and food insecurity rather. And the Green Revolution changed that story. The farmer, the scientist, irrigation, improved seeds, fertilizers, research, and public policy came together. And today, India is not merely feeding itself. India is an important participant in global food markets. Food grain production reached a record 357.73 million tons in 2024-25. Horticulture production has also expanded dramatically, reaching more than 360 million tons. Agricultural exports have risen significantly, reaching about 51 billion US dollar in FY 24-25. Think about the transformation. Yesterday, will India have enough food? And today, what can India supply to the world? That is transformation worth celebrating. And for all of us connected with business and international trade, this is where the opportunity becomes particularly exciting. Fruits, vegetables, flowers, rice, wheat, pulses, spices, processed foods, marine products, engineering goods, pharmaceutical, textiles, electronics, defense products. The question is no longer simply whether India can produce. The question is, can India produce more, process more, certify better, package better, brand better, and export better? That is the next chapter. Now let us look upward. In 1947, India was a young nation. Today, India reaches space. From Aryabhatta to Chandrayaan, from sounding rockets to sophisticated launch vehicles, and from satellites serving communication and weather needs to missions exploring the moon and the sun. Chandrayaan 3 demonstrated India's capability to achieve a soft landing on the lunar surface. Aditya L1 is studying the sun, and India's space program has now entered an even more ambitious phase. In 2025, India's space DEX mission demonstrated autonomous docking and undocking, making India the fourth nation to demonstrate such space docking capability. And then came another unforgettable moment. Indian astronaut group captain Shubhanshu Shukla traveled to the International Space Station aboard Axiom 4, and from a nation that once depended heavily on imported technology to an India sending its own astronauts into space. That is not a small journey. That is a giant leap. And the journey continues towards Gaganyaan and beyond, and now come down to from the sky to the border. India's defense story has also changed dramatically. DRDO, our defense laboratories, public sector defense enterprises, private industry, and thousands of Indian engineers are increasingly contributing to indigenous defense capability. And India is no longer only buying defense equipment, India is increasingly making and exporting defense equipment. Defense export touched a record 38,424 crore rupees in FY 25-26, a rise of more than 62% over the previous year. That is the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat, not merely made in India, but made in India and trusted by the world. Now look at the infrastructure. In 1950-51, India's national highway network was around 19,800 kilometers. Today, it is 1.46 lakhs kilometers. That is more than 7 times since 1950-51 network. And the transformation has accelerated sharply in recent years, from about 91,287 kilometers in 2014 to 1,46,560 kilometers now in 2025. Expressway, access control corridors, bridges, tunnels, border roads, remote connectivity. India is literally shortening distances. And when the distance falls, commerce rises. And when travel time falls, productivity rises. When logistics improve, exports become competitive. Roads are not merely concrete, those roads are economic arteries. Now come to the railways. At independence, Indian Railway had about 53,600 route kilometers, and in 2023-24 it is about 69,200 route. But the bigger story is the transformation in technology. electrification, speed, safety, and capacity. And then came the Vande Bharat generation. Modern trains, modern stations, modern signaling, modern passenger experience. The railway of 1947 carried a nation. The railway of 2026 is increasingly carrying a modern economy. And aviation. In 2014, India had around 74 operational airports, and now it is 160. More airports, more routes, more regional connectivity, more passengers. India's skies are becoming busier because India's economy is becoming busier. And now, friends, let us come to my favorite subject, the Indian rupee, because the history of India can almost be narrated through the journey of Indian rupee. At independence, the rupee was linked to sterling system with an effective dollar rate around 3.3 rupees per dollar in 1947. After the 1949 sterling adjustment, it was about 4.76 rupees per dollar, and the 1966 devaluation took it to 7.5 rupees per dollar. Then a long journey, then 11, 23, 33, right up to 88, and now in 2026 the rupee is around 95-96 zone against the dollar. So somebody can ask why the rupee has depreciated. I would say yes, but look at the other side of balance sheet. India's economy has expanded enormously. India's trade has expanded. India's exports have expanded. Indian companies have become multinational. Indian professionals have become global. And India's forex reserves have risen from the precarious level seen in 1991 to $693 billion as of now, and that is an extraordinary transformation. In 1991, foreign exchange was scarce. Today, reserves are strategic financial cushion. From forex scarcity to forex strength, that is a journey. Now let us talk about the stock market. The Sensex did not even exist when India became independent. It began its journey with a base of 100 in 1979, and today it is 78,000. Nifty came later with a base value 1,000 in 1995 November, and today it is 24,300. So what do these numbers tell us? They tell us something very important. India has not traveled in a straight line. There were booms, there were corrections, there were crises, there were wars, there were oil shocks, there were global financial crises, there was COVID, and there were geopolitical tensions. But every time India stumbled, India stood up. Every time India slowed, India restarted. Every time the world changed, India adopted. That is the real strength of India. And now, my dear friends, let us ask the most important question. What does India need next? That is, our responsibility begins. We need stronger MSME. We need globally competitive manufacturing. We need more value addition. We need world-class quality standards. We need better packaging and branding. We need cold chains for perishables. We need stronger agricultural supply chains. We need faster customs and logistics. We need greater export diversification. We need deeper technology adoption. We need skilled manpower. We need more research and development. We need green energy. We need semiconductor capability. We need artificial intelligence. We need cyber security. We need defense technology. We need more global Indian brands. And above all, we need an India that is productive, innovative, competitive, and confident. For our exporters, the opportunity is enormous. The world is looking for alternative supply chains. The world is looking for reliable suppliers. The world is looking for quality, and the world is looking for scale. And India has something very special. Scale plus skills, demography plus democracy, technology plus talent, tradition plus innovation. That combination is powerful. But let me add one more dimension, particularly for all of us dealing in foreign exchange. The world is becoming more volatile. The dollar will remain important. Oil will remain important. Interest rates will matter. Geopolitics matter. And currency volatility will matter. Therefore, Indian businesses must not merely think about selling more. They must think about protecting margins, managing currency risk, diversifying markets, and building financial resilience. The next India will not be built only by government. It will be built by entrepreneurs, by exporters, by MSMEs, by farmers, by scientists, by engineers, by young Indians, and every person who says, I can do better. So, on this Independence Day, let us remember our journey. Gandhiji gave us ahimsa, Patel gave us unity, Jawaharlal gave us vision, Shastri gave us Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Indira Gandhi gave us Garibi Hatu, and the reform era gave us economic liberalization and global integration. And the current era has given powerful momentum to Atmanirbhar Bharat, infrastructure, digitalization, manufacturing, and global ambition. Different eras, different challenges, different leaders, but one continuous national journey. India first, India forward, India rising. My dear friends, in 1947, when we inherited a free India, in 2026, our responsibility is to build a strong India, an India that feeds the world, an India that manufactures for the world, an India that innovates for the world, an India that exports to the world, an India that sends astronauts into the space, an India that protects its borders, an India that creates opportunities for its young, an India that respects its farmers, an India that rewards enterprise, an India that believes in peace but possesses the strength to protect peace, and in India that can look the world in the eye and say, we are ready. So, today, when the tricolor rises, let us not merely say Happy Independence Day. Let us say, thank you, India. Thank you for the freedom. Thank you for the sacrifices. Thank you for the farmers. Thank you for the soldiers. Thank you for the scientists. Thank you for the entrepreneurs. Thank you for the workers. Thank you for every generation that carried India forward. And now the baton is in our hands. The first 17 years built the foundation. The next decades must build the future. Let us make India richer in opportunity, stronger in capability, bolder in ambition, wiser in leadership, and greater in contribution to the world. Because India's best chapter may not be behind us, it may be waiting to be written. And perhaps that is the most beautiful line with which we can celebrate Independence Day. From Swaraj to Suraj, from freedom to prosperity, from scarcity to strength, from importer to exporter, from follower to innovator, from emerging nation to leading nation. The journey continues, the tricolor flies, the rupee trades, the markets open, the factories run, the farms produce, the trains move, the planes fly, the rockets rise, and India marches forward. And let me leave you with one thought. A nation is not measured only by where it came from, but by how boldly it walks towards where it wants to go. India has walked a long road since 1947. Now, let us walk the next mile together. Happy Independence Day to you, your families, your organizations, and your teams. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind, Krishnan from Hyderabad, India.